Sorry about the long transition, folks. Had a few technical issues, but we're hopefully live to our friends on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or maybe not Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, um, uh, Trovo, D Live, uh, and Twitch, as well as our Shoutcast server at pillarsoffranchising.com. I'm Fred McMurray, so I'm running the show today. My partner Kristen is also looks like travel delayed. We had a big year. I've been really grateful to be involved in Pillars of Franchising over the last going on 4 years with Ray and Kristen and everyone. It's been a labor of love, and no good deed is ever goes unpunished. And next week we'll have some great news on expansion. I'd love to tell you today, but I promised I'd wait until after the first of the year. So with that, let's take you to the team chat and bring you all my fine co-host in crime, thoughts for the past year as hopes for the new.
Yes, it will.
Okay. All right, and welcome to the final Pillars of Franchising episode of the year 2021. Thank goodness. We have so much to be thankful for, yet so much more to look forward to. Welcome back to Pillars of Franchising as we celebrate again the end of 2021 with great news abound for 2022. Elizabeth, how are you today?
Good. I'm excited to have a special edition on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We decided to throw a little New Year's Eve party for the Pillars team. So I just kind of wanted to get everybody's, I've got my
coffee.
I'm not a seller. Oh, look at that. Yeah. So I think it would be fun if we just kind of give a recap of the things that happened at Pillars this year and then what we're looking forward to, because we had a lot happen this last year. And for me personally, I got to launch a new magazine, which was very exciting. And,
right.
Hopefully that will grow and inform. But then for everybody, we started our LLC. So, I mean,
right.
Where's everybody on that?
Well, so let me kind of tell you how all of this came to be. As most of you all know, this has been I'll call it a labor of love for Ray and Fred for a couple of years now. But in August, we actually formed the official Pillars the final Pillars of Franchising episode of the year 2021. Thank goodness. We have so much to be thankful for, yet so much more to look forward to. Welcome back to Pillars of Franchising as we celebrate again the end of 2021 with great news abound for 2022. Elizabeth, how are you today?
Good. I'm excited to have a special edition on New Year's Eve. We decided to throw a little New Year's Eve party for the Pillars team. So I just kind of wanted to get everybody's, I've got my
coffee.
I'm not a seller. Oh, look at that. Yeah. So I think it would be fun if we just kind of give a recap of the things that happened at Pillars this year and then what we're looking forward to, because we had a lot happen this last year. And for me personally, I got to launch a new magazine, which was very exciting. And
right.
Hopefully that will grow and inform. But then for everybody, we started our LLC. So, I mean,
right.
Where's everybody on that?
Well, so let me kind of tell you how all of this came to be. As most of you all know, this has been I'll call it a labor of love for Ray and Fred for a couple of years now. But in August, we actually formed the official Pillars of Franchising LLC. We are now expanded well beyond just a podcast. And I'm looking forward to having everybody talk a little bit about what they're doing within our corporation, because we've got everything from helping people prepare that exit out of corporate America into business ownership through franchising. We have a mentor piece. We have the digital magazine and various different marketing strategies within that. Obviously, Jerry's working on something very exciting. I'll have him kind of talk a little bit about that. And there's so much more. So with that, Jerry, would you like to talk about your world?
Oh, I'd love to. I'll tell you, let's start here. I should have done this around Thanksgiving because it's something I'm thankful for, that Fred reached out and asked me to be a part of this, because I've really enjoyed, being able to be a little bit of a voice for franchising overall and working with all of you lovely people. And we've formed a great, not only partnership, but friendship as we've done this. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about. And then, I got to tell you, the magazine is phenomenal. Elizabeth does an amazing job. I think it's a great resource. So I'm hoping we continue to expand on that. But for me, I did the book this year, and the learning platform is getting set up. And there's going to be a lot of what we do on this show moving forward, or at least my part of it, that will be related to things that we're trying to teach franchisees through the book and the learning platform. So here we will get a chance to get that information out to a very wide audience so that people get a little flavor for it, which I hope helps them and ends up allowing us to work with them in different ways in the future. But the really big news, I guess, for the coming year is we've been asked to facilitate helping a lot of franchisees out who want to exit the franchise world, maybe retire. So we've been approached by some investors that basically have said, with the wealth of knowledge and experience that we have in this group, that they can't think of better people to help facilitate that. So I guess I missed that meeting because I got chosen to run it. Everybody else ran for cover.
Don't you know, if you're not there, you get nominated.
Well, this is a big one, Elizabeth.
Yes, it is.
Fred's in the background waving his thumb, but it's going to be very exciting because there are a lot of people that want to exit their business and don't have a way to get out of it. They may not have children that want to take it over. They just don't know how to handle that process, perhaps. We've got brokers here, right? Because we've got the lovely Kristen and the even lovelier David, who are brokers now. And we have the ability to help with that transition. And with our experience, we can help match investors up with that. So it's going to be a great year, very exciting. And it helps that we got all the tools in place to do that with. So that's my piece.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super exciting. Ray, are you on board with us? I know you're traveling, but you're ever devoted to the show. So thank you for not texting and driving, but talking and driving.
Okay. First of all, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you, Ray.
Can you see me?
We can see you.
Yes.
All right.
I see you just past a semi.
Yeah. If you look on one side of the picture,
There's
Daisy
Daisy
is in the back, and hi Daisy.
Hi, Daisy.
and her son Dennis is driving.
Nice. Okay. Hi, Dennis.
So we're hi Dennis, she said. And we're on our way back from Pittsburgh, and a very enjoyable week with Daisy's family and her new granddaughter, and we're pretty excited about that. And people in the area. But getting back to what you were talking about, Pillars has grown beyond my wildest expectations, I think, as well as Fred's, and it's so exciting to see everything and the camaraderie and the friendship that has developed amongst our team is absolutely astounding. One of the things I love to do, of course, is talk about business and talk about franchising and being able to help anybody, whether they're on the fence thinking about getting into business, into franchising, or maybe they're thinking about some sort of an exit strategy. I'd love to talk to anybody about it. You know,
Yep.
and that is my goal and my aspiration for 2022 is I travel and enjoy the life of Ray
Yes, the life of Ray.
in 2022. So Daisy and I have a lot of plans for traveling in 2022. We'll be picking up our new coach sometime probably towards the end of January and beginning of February, and looking forward to that. And then in March we really start traveling. Like I said, a lot of plans. So
Awesome.
that's pretty much it. I think our little get together that we had really helped seal the bonds that we have about ourselves and the show. So it was a fantastic meeting.
Excellent. Well, we are looking forward to seeing the new coach with the QR code and the Pillars of Franchising emblem logo right there next to it. So anyone passing you on the road can just take a picture and scan that QR code and bam, there we are.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that too.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, we're so glad to have everybody here, really. And David, tell us about your last year. You have been crazy busy as well.
It's been interesting. I love hearing Ray talk about traveling while he's traveling, but
right. He's walking the talk.
That's right. Well, I mean, this whole thing has taken a lot of turns. As anybody that's listening knows, sold our business at the end of September of 2020, and Fred got in touch with me and said, "Hey, would you like to come on the show and just talk about, franchising?" Sure, no problem. So then that turned into mentoring, and and being part of the mentorship program, which really caught my attention. And I thought, this is good, gives me something to do. Otherwise, I was just going to focus on our real estate ventures and my stock option trading ventures. And as normally happens, is as I got more, back into the swing of things and talking about businesses, looking at businesses, I went ahead and said, I got to get back into business. It's what I do. It's what I've done for a long time. So we became franchisees of the Joint Chiropractic, which, was introduced to me by Jerry. So there's a reason why he and I were on this thing together. So, and that's what we're doing. So, am I looking forward to what we're doing with Pillars? Absolutely. Magazine's phenomenal. And looking forward to mentoring people, and gives me a good perspective because I'm not going to be that far detached. I will be going through the process right along with anybody who I would be mentoring. So, I look at that as a real bonus that I can still maintain that touch of what someone else is going through because I'm going through it myself. So
I think that's awesome.
Wasn't my plan, but I think it is a great plan. So.
Yeah, David, and I think that you hit the nail right on the head there. The fact that you are now intimately involved in being a new franchisee and a new brand and a new concept, I think is fantastic. Because I remember when I started my business and all the experienced people would sit and talk about what they need to do, what we need to do, how we need to market. And I'm like, okay, but I'm like the youngest one here and none of those ideas work anymore. And it's very interesting. Now you're kind of back with a fresh set of eyes. Yep. And I think that for those folks out there who look to get into franchising, they're going to be really excited to hear, as you've been doing, kind of narrate your journey through your new adventure with the Joint Chiropractic. So I'm very excited to have you share that with us. And obviously we've got a lot of stuff on tap now for coaching and mentoring and all kinds of things happening very soon. So Elizabeth,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, us too. I think it's going to be a great year for Pillars of Franchising. Elizabeth, do you have anything you'd like to add to all this?
Well, yeah, one thing I think my favorite thing about all of this is that as we gather people to mentor and as we help people look for the franchise and the right fit, the reason that Pillars stands out as a group that can do that is because you've all been through it. And it's because you understand, you're not just trying to sell something or run a business. What you're trying to do is help people understand that you understand that they're investing their money, their time, their livelihoods, maybe their lives a small thing, and
Right.
you are not going to steer them in a direction that's going to risk that any more than absolutely necessary. So I really love that part of our story, that we are invested in that experience from our experiences.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of my favorite things about this team. And that, you know, Jerry says, well, I didn't show up to the meeting and so I got this. But the thing is, what he was assigned when he wasn't at the meeting was right in his wheelhouse. You know, it was
Right.
in his area of experience and expertise. And I think that's kind of where it's all landed in our individual roles.
Yes.
And we've got people in the lanes that they're good at, and we've got resources for the things that we're less experienced with. If I need to ask a question about something for the magazine, I can call anybody and say, okay, you know more than me about this, so I need to know, I need your information. So I think that's another unique position that we're in, is that we've built this team with a vast array of experiences that are different and unique and all necessary to successful franchising. So
Yep.
that's that whole cohesion and you know is really kind of fun to be a part of, I think.
Yeah, and I will tell you, you know, for those of you out there wondering, like, how did you guys all get together? And I tease about Fred being evil Skippy, but he is actually the mastermind behind putting this motley crew of folks together. But there is a trait that not only do we all on the show right now share, but every single individual that we have spoken with and brought kind of under the Pillars umbrella. And this goes anyone from, say, a Nancy Corpenning and RJ Grimshaw, and I'm a Karen Kimsey Sword, and I don't want to leave anybody out, Jim Levin, I mean, Drew Trovan. Listen, they all have the same core values that we have. You know, we just want to help people. What? Fred, he's chirping in my ear, and this time it's live, and so it's, you know, but yeah, they don't annoy Fred, which is what was his comment. But I really think it's great because it's beyond, we're not looking at this as a business venture to go out and make a bunch of money, right? That's not why we all got together. We're all doing this while we still have our real jobs, as I call them, right? And so I think that that's what makes our team different. And I will say, I mean, Jerry, to your point, I look at this as now a family. This is my Pillars family. And being able to meet everyone for my surprise early birthday party was phenomenal. David, you still owe me a visit. That's okay. We'll find you somewhere. But yeah, I really think that for those of you that watch the show on a regular basis, be ready, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening in 2022. You know, we've got multiple different ways we're going to be coming at you, not just this show here, but you're going to start to see networking events and all kinds of different things coming across through the Pillars website. So we'd like to wish, on behalf of everybody here, Fred, would you like to wish everybody, come on, you're never on the screen here. Fred happens to be in Chicago visiting grandkids. There he is. That's Fred. So on behalf of everyone here at Pillars of Franchising, we'd like to wish you a very happy new year. Be safe, be happy, be healthy, and don't forget where you're supposed to be on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central. And that's right here on Pillars of Franchising.
No, I have this. Yeah.
Hey, franchise owners, how's your local marketing? Do you feel like you could use some help keeping up with your social media posts and comments and reviews? Do you wonder if you could be doing more to attract local customers? Are you able to identify new move-ins to your local area? At Westvine, we help franchisees like you reach more local customers through digital marketing. With daily monitoring, creative content, and ad placement, and customer data intelligence, we'll get your business in front of the people who want your products or services. We also work with franchisors who need an agency to handle the digital marketing for all of their locations. If you're ready to reach more local customers, give us a call at 805-265-5440 or visit us at westvine.com. That's 805-265-5440 or westvine.com.
1.
We would like to welcome my friend Paul Pickett of Wild Birds Unlimited to the Pillars of Franchising show. I'm so excited to have him. I have a good conversation every single time we get to interview him. Paul is the Chief Development Officer, Executive Vice President of Franchising at Wild Birds Unlimited. He has over 30 years of experience bringing people and nature together. He has led the franchise development team to grow the franchise to over 340 locations and manages all the legal and real estate responsibilities for Wild Birds Unlimited. He's also involved with the IFA and is one of the founding members of the Pride Council. So he's got a lot of irons in the fire. And so welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wow, I thought I was busy, but you're really busy.
Oh, you just do what you need to do, right?
That's right. And as long as you're having a good time and you love
Yeah.
what you're doing, it doesn't really matter, right?
Exactly. And I have an amazing team. So
That's great. That's great. So I'm super excited to hear all about Wild Birds Unlimited today because I grew up with my grandfather having this huge picture window and they would tell me, oh, this is this bird and this is this bird and this is this bird. And I was like, okay, how do they know all this? And they had their bird books and everything. And then now I'm kind of in an urban area and I don't get to see a whole lot of them. And then I see Wild Birds Unlimited and I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of bird people out there.
there are, yeah, 80 in just the US, 81 million people. And that's from a Fish and Wildlife survey from a while ago, spending $5 billion on bird food. And if you look at the whole hobby, over $7.5 billion per year. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a big thing. It's kind of a sleeper hobby, right? It's backyard bird feeding. So
Right.
you tell your friends if you're going skiing, right? That's a real obvious thing. You go away and you do it, but it's like gardening. It's the second most popular passive hobby, so not exercising, but in the US and Canada, just behind gardening.
Wow.
It's kind of meditative, isn't it? I mean, you're on your porch and my mom and dad have a hummingbird feeder, and we were finally out there long enough to see the hummingbirds when it wasn't 100 degrees down here. But it's so exciting. Like everybody just had this little celebration over the hummingbird landing on the feeder.
Yeah, your yard comes to life, and it's a hobby that you can. Doesn't matter if you're 4 or you're 104. You can enjoy it. It's a real affordable hobby, and it's a hobby that's as complex as you want to make it too, which is fun. If you want to get more involved and bring in different birds, of course, our wonderful franchise store owners and their teams can help you figure out how to manage that, and you can again do it as in depth or as casually as you so desire. So it is a great hobby for everyone.
I am super excited. I'm super excited because you said there are 2 stores near me and I have yet to see an Oriole or a Blue Jay in my yard.
Okay. Well, you just need to get the right stuff out there and they can help you figure that all out.
That's awesome.
So.
Well, let me ask you. So a Wild Birds Unlimited franchise, that's what we're here to talk about today. So do you have to be a bird lover to want to buy a Wild Birds Unlimited?
You have to like birds, right? And you have to like nature. I think it's really important for people who want to make a difference are who our franchisees are. And they have a natural propensity to birds. I mean, if you didn't like the outdoors, right? If you were you never liked to be outside, it would probably be a challenge to connect with your customer base. But if you love people and you love birds and nature, you don't have to be an expert. You do not need to know how to identify fall migrating warblers to know to be a phenomenal franchisee. Just loving nature, loving birds, loving people, but you don't have to be an expert at it. And I would say not maybe most, but very, very, very many of our franchisees could not lead a bird walk. But they are the expert at the birds in your backyard. So it's very different than going to Peru to go birding versus being an expert backyard bird feeding specialist.
Oh yeah, sure. That totally makes sense. So who is an ideal candidate for you? Could you kind of describe somebody who might be, aside from liking birds and nature, what other skill sets do you look for?
One of the most important things is just being a great leader, a leader in their store, for their team, a leader in their community, somebody who wants to combine their passion and their profession and focus on the business as a business. I mean, it is a business, right? I mean, you have to manage the business. We've got all the help and tools and amazing coaching support, but you really do have to have that passion for growth, passion for people, and passion for giving back.
Sure.
That's an important thing. The funny thing is, you try to, in franchising, create an avatar of like, who is your franchisee, and maybe like what professions do they come from, all over the board. I mean, we have phenomenal franchisees who have gone to secondary education and some that haven't. We have them that are teachers, a post person, dentists, doctors, investment bankers, and the toughest profession of all, homemakers, who they're empty nesters, and they spent their time. They're some of our best franchisees because they know how to multitask better than anybody. And
right,
here's the world of retail. So
and
there's
speaking
a lot
of that,
of multitasking going on.
Yeah. Well, and we interviewed Donna Blum for the magazine coming up, and she's kind of one of those. She was a stay-at-home mom, and then she kind of tiptoed into some work. But one thing that I've interviewed a couple of your franchisees before, and one thing that they all seem to bring to the table is that the way they want their customers to feel when they walk into the store. And she was saying, if she was having a bad day as a customer, she would go in and that was her happy place, and that everybody made her feel better. And that was what she wanted to pay forward as a franchisee. So I think that seems to be a common thread. Would you say, in terms of who you're looking for, is someone who's going to make others feel welcome and embraced and
we talk
enjoy?
a lot about sharing the joy and sharing the joy of the hobby, sharing the joy of the shopping experience, sharing the joy of being in a community with other people who are like-minded and who have that propensity and desire to give back.
So let's talk a little bit about it, because it's a brick and mortar model, right?
Yep. With an omni-channel branch, we online, as one has to have. Yeah, every store has their own online store that is, templated and the products are all managed, but they fulfill those online orders. So it's called My WBU. I hate air quotes. Just did it. So that, like, you pick the store, typically the one that you go to, the one that's closest to you, and then you sign up and you're on their customer list to shop online. So you can, which was heavenly over the last 20 months. To have that opportunity, and you can then pick up in the store, curbside, in store, or have it shipped to you.
Yeah, so, tell us a little bit about how this model did during COVID.
We were very fortunate that we did very, very, very well. Our franchisees busted their humps, worked so bloody hard. We migrated. Get it? My background is I'm an ornithologist by training. I have my master's in the study of birds, so I can't.
Cool.
We went immediately to curbside pickup, whether you had the online platform or not, and then so many people went to online, especially in the very beginning, and people were home. People were keeping their feeders full rather than just filling them up on Friday night. So they had a great weekend. They were filling them up every night. So we had an excellent year. I mean, and when I say that, I mean, we are also very fortunate about it, but it was not it wasn't easy. It didn't just happen. Our franchisees busted their humps and continue to in tough times, right? I mean, it's just weird and all that stuff. And our and the people here, my team, the team that I work with, just like immediately, marketing department came out with 45 new platform different ways to communicate. We had to do new messaging. Product supply, figuring out how to do gift buying. We made these share the joy boxes that people could buy, so that you could be buying gifts when you didn't want to go into a store to look at them. And with packages for like woodpecker, hummingbirds, other things.
Wow, I hope you have those for, we
We
are
will.
just getting out of Christmas, so to speak, but
Yeah.
I mean, birthdays, Mother's Day, I mean, what a
Oh.
great gift idea. I would have never thought of that. And I love
Yeah.
it. And I was a retail brat for a long time, and I can't believe it didn't hit me that that is such a cool idea.
Yeah, the gifting of the core product, the bird food, bird feeders, houses, hardware, that has been a huge thing because it's consumable and it allows people to do something rather than, I mean, nothing against vases or candles or anything, but frames, there's a certain point where you're kind of you're done. Yeah, you don't need anymore. And so this is something that's great, and that the whole family, I mean, we have these wonderful characters that are bird food characters, and there's snowmen and penguins, and I just bought 30 of them to send to all the kids in my life.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Well, I have to think that when you talk about in terms of giving back, I mean, if an owner, or if a franchisee wanted to partner with a school or Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, any kind of YWCA, YMCA, all of those organizations, I'm sure would love the opportunity. And that really, we talk a lot on the show about giving back to the community and becoming part of the fabric of the community. Those are great ways to do it. For people who might be intimidated in getting into the retail space, because it's not for the faint of heart, right? I've done the nights and weekends for a long time. One of the big issues today is continuing to get employees. How many employees approximately on average does each store require, would you say?
I'm going to say 4 to 5 is probably a nice number. Most of them are part-time. Okay. And our system, like everyone else, has had challenges. It has not been as strong because the employees, like the franchise store owners, they love this. They're wanting to share their joy. In many cases, it is their full-time employment, and in many cases, it's not.
Sure.
And so while we have, like everyone else, this challenge, there's no question that we're not immune to it, but it has not as strong of an impact as those brands who are hiring a lot of younger people who typically work in fast food. That has been more challenging. My dear friends who are in that industry have had much stronger problems challenges, call them problems, than we have.
Sure. But I talked to a lot of people who are on Social Security and they just want a little something to do, right? And so what a great opportunity. And many in that generation may have grown up with birds, watching birds, right? That's kind of like a pastime that people used to do when they would slow down. And I think that's
during the pandemic, we've actually expanded our customer base significantly and brought a lot more younger people in who were feeding. Their kids were home. So I need to give them something to do. So this will amuse them. And so we've had a really strong elevation in new customer acquisition and are keeping those customers for the most part. So, and
that's
they're young.
Wholesome, as my son loves this word. It's a wholesome family activity. It's something that there's nothing bad about it, right?
And if you spend time watching it, it's as dramatic as a soap opera, right? Life cycle, you see the birds doing their courtship, coming in with their mates, coming in with their babies, then the babies fighting with the adults to get as they grow up, and they need to then disperse. I mean, you see the whole 9 yards out there.
Oh my goodness. Working from home during COVID most days of the week, right? I had that very same thing after my mom died. A pair of doves came in and they had a nest, and it was like, oh my gosh, every day I was like, okay, so what are they doing now? It was very, very interesting. Obviously, this is a new, relatively new. When did you start franchising Wild Birds Unlimited?
83.
Oh, it is not new. It's just new to me.
It's just new to you. Yeah. Jim Carpenter, our founder and CEO, he started the first store in 1981, started franchising in 83. A few years later, his wife came in, who was an educator, came in and said, this is not just a retail store, but now you've started this franchise. So we need to really systematize this and get best practices and really strong handbooks and organized training and ongoing support. And then, I started in 89 as the first full-time employee. And now we're closing in on 50, and we actually have 353 open and operational stores and another 15 that are in process, during different phases, either all the way from site selection to store build out. So yeah.
Well, so now I have to give a little bit of a shout out because we just talked about Chicago has a large open area where I am to build stores.
Yeah.
Not that I want to give up the opportunity if I could do it myself, but I'm pretty busy.
I'm in development. I'm always, you're always trying to award the right market, the right person. It's a good match with our concept.
Exactly. And shares your values and all the things that really make it a winning combination. So for our listeners out there today who are thinking, "Ooh, this might be something I'm really interested in," can you tell us about how much does it cost for them to get started in franchise fees, and about what do they need before they can expect maybe a break even, or how much do you really have to have, right? Because we know you need a franchise fee, and then you need to have some capital to work with.
We're very fortunate, but we have our whole startup is, I'm gonna give you some rough numbers. So like 180 to 300. And that includes working capital, franchise fee, inventory, fixtures, hiring the first few months of employees, build out, legal, that whole night, floor sign to the uniforms, everything.
Okay.
So that's what it costs to get in. We are very fortunate in their first calendar year, our franchisees do cash flow positively. So that is great. And it's a lot like subscription models. It worked really well for a lot of brands. Ours, we have a consumable. So, the customers keep coming back because the birds eat the seed and they need more.
Yeah, absolutely. And they want that great combination.
Yeah. And it's a smallish retail footprint, 13 to 1,800 square feet. And the hours are reasonable for retail. Most of our stores are open from, 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and 12 to 5 on Sundays, or 11 to 4 on Sundays, depending on the market. And so it's really not as big of a lift as most people when they think about retail.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these hours are crazy. They're not as crazy. And if you follow our directions and you follow our best practices and you hone your leadership skill, you don't have to be, the beauty of a great retail store is that you've got a great team that's there. You don't have to be there all the time. In the beginning, you do.
Right. Sure.
I'm not going to undersell how much work it is. It's a lot of work. Right?
Yeah. Well, I already have a vision in my head of what my little store would look like in downtown Glen Ellen or Barrington, the little quaint communities, right? I'm already building my store in my head, so I have to stop
let me move you away from that quaint little cute, and remember that you got to appeal to the masses, and so you're probably in a strip mall on a busy street, and with a grocery shopping center.
Yes.
Everyone's like, oh, it would be so much fun to be in a little downtown area. It's like, but parking, remember, 20-pound bags, people come in and buy 4 or 5 at a time. Haul those out to the customer's car.
That's right.
You don't want to be hauling them 4 blocks away, right?
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Well, I'm so excited to have been able to talk to you today. And we know that there's probably nothing but great things ahead for Wild Birds Unlimited. How do our callers get in touch with you if they're looking to learn more? Obviously, you have a fabulous website. I've been looking at all the different tips and things that you have on here, but how do they find you?
Yeah, the easiest way is just to go to, franchise.wbu.com. If you want to make it easier, go to wbu.com, which is our consumer site, and then there's a great big button that says own your own store at the top, brings you right over. You can call me, 888-730-7108. We're here all the time. So there's a million different ways, but if you just Google Wild Birds Unlimited franchise, boom, you'll be right there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I want to give a plug. The Pillars of Franchising magazine drops tomorrow, and in that issue is the interview that I was talking about with Donna. And she has an amazing story of gaining financial independence midlife, and the way that she did it was through Wild Birds Unlimited, and she swears she couldn't have done it any other way. So make sure you take a look at that tomorrow.
Stories. Yeah, that makes it.
She was a great story. So
all worthwhile. Well, and you also know, like Chris Davis, who was probably 3, which is aging me, when his parents opened their store, and now he's bought into the business. So seeing his kids grow up, seeing people who needed this financial independence and didn't have another way to do it, franchising is such a great way to hit. So
Awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
and it is the December issue. I forget we're at the end of December, but it is in this issue on pillarsoffranchising.com. So go take a look.
Paul, thank you again so much.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Elizabeth.
We can't wait to have you on again. And, as people call us and write to us and want to look to buy a franchise, obviously this is now one of my favorite ones I'd like to take a look at with somebody who's interested in buying a Wild Birds Unlimited. So we really do appreciate your time and wish you all the best this upcoming 2022.
Pleasure is mine. Right back at you.
Thank you.
Hey, franchise owners, how's your local marketing? Do you feel like you could use some help keeping up with your social media posts and comments and reviews? Do you wonder if you could be doing more to attract local customers? Are you able to identify new move-ins to your local area? At Westvine, we help franchisees like you reach more local customers through digital marketing. With daily monitoring, creative content, and ad placement, and customer data intelligence, we'll get your business in front of the people who want your products or services. We also work with franchisors who need an agency to handle the digital marketing for all of their locations. If you're ready to reach more local customers, give us a call at 805-265-5440 or visit us at westvine.com. That's 805-265-5440 or westvine.com.
1.
So we are excited to welcome to the show Patrick Findaro of Vetted Biz. I'm going to give you a little bit of a scoop on what Vetted Biz does, and then we'll get into Patrick. Vetted Biz is the leading platform for accessible and analytical data on franchises. They bring transparency to potential franchisee owners as they navigate the process of buying a franchise using a lot of data, a lot of analysis. Patrick's going to tell us all about that. He oversees content generation, strategic relationships for Vetted Biz, manages a 15-plus person team focused on communicating small business findings to entrepreneurs around the world. So Patrick, welcome to Pillars.
Thanks a lot, Elizabeth and Kristen. Really appreciate being part of your show today.
Oh, we're so happy to have you on. I'll tell you, I mentioned to you before, and certainly when I met you like 10 days ago or something, how great it is to have a resource to go to that is so just real. Like it's the good, the bad, the ugly of franchising. And I think that's, years ago, franchising had a really kind of a bad reputation because of a few franchisors that maybe didn't uphold their end of the bargain. And since then, we've overcome that in franchising in general. But for the most part, I love to be able to get the true scoop, not something that's from, a development guy at a particular brand. So thank you for all the work you do.
No, for sure. Yeah. And we're super passionate about just getting the right information to the right people. And it's like, if, in the past with real estate, maybe the realtor would give you all the information about the house, but now you have other sources to kind of verify that advisor. You still want to work with that advisor, trust that advisor, but you want to kind of double check what they're giving you.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me how Vetted Biz came to be.
Sure, definitely. So my brother and I started it just a couple years back. My background was in finance. Out of college, I worked at JP Morgan, a small consulting firm after that. Then I actually worked at a private equity fund that would lend money to franchisees.
Okay.
And then my brother, Jack, was part of the leadership development program at Restaurant Brands International, which owns Popeyes, Burger King, Tim Hortons, and they just bought Firehouse Subs.
Yes.
Yeah, we both had some experience in franchising, and we discovered a way for foreign nationals to move to the US through investing in a franchise through a few different investor visa categories like the E2 visa.
Uh-huh.
And with that, we started a company called Visa Franchise back in 2015. And we still have that company. I'm most focused right now on Vetted Biz. And we have that company with great employees that are still working with foreign nationals wanting to buy a franchise, and they get an investor visa through that investment.
That's awesome.
But it's limited. I mean, at the end of the day, how many of those folks can we help?
Right.
10 a month? Could we get to 15, 20? Maybe, but it would be all our energy, and we wouldn't have as big of an impact as we currently have with Vetted Biz, and hopefully 10x in the coming years by not just helping 10 investors every month, but hundreds.
Absolutely.
More for Americans that want to buy a US franchise, getting the right information to them to make an educated decision.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Obviously you do podcasts. Are you releasing them every day for each?
Yeah, so we have a series called Franchise Findings that we just launched. I was looking at basically a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And part of the inspiration behind it, Visa franchise, we got tired of saying the same thing.
Right.
And we didn't want to repeat that with Vetted Biz. So let's just get everything out there.
Right.
So every day there's a franchise analysis where we review the most important items from the FDD, the founding year, how much the initial investment is. And then we supplement that with what's the payback period? When are you going to get your money back?
Yeah.
As well as what the resale value is. If you're investing $500K in a franchise and the resale value on one location's $100K, you might want to rethink that. So
yeah,
every day we go through usually a big brand, popular franchise, and then weekly I'll interview the founder and or president of a major franchise system.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I mentioned that when I was coming back from vacation this past week, I actually tried to download as many as I could in my phone, which I buy like the biggest memory phone I can, actually ran out of space. I couldn't save all the episodes because I wanted to, listen to all these different brands that you were talking about. And I was like, oh my God, I can't get it all on my phone. So
I love it. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't really and I'm very curious, and all the people on our team are just curious on how much these make and if it's good business. And you'd be surprised, and you probably heard it in some of these episodes, but some big brands, it takes like 10 plus years to get your money back.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is the franchise purchase is more emotional rather than like looking at the finances behind it.
Well, for sure. We've talked about things like Orange Theory, right? So people are like, oh, I work out at Orange Theory. I just love it. And when I was with the one gal at FBA, she was actually working with somebody who said, well, I love to work out. And so I think I'd like to buy one of those. And I was thinking, do you even know like what's involved? And then
I love surfing and I love swimming, but it might be better just to keep that as a hobby and not try to be a professional surfer or swim instructor. And I could probably give back and have a bigger impact to society doing something else.
Sure. And you've got a great episode about Chick-fil-A on there, which I loved.
If you can get in, do it by all means. You invest $10K and you could be making $200,000, $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Why? Go for it.
Right. But just know what you've got when you leave, right?
Yeah.
So
I think it's like a 1 in 10,000 chance of getting it. And a lot of people go into franchising because they want to build equity. They want to have an exit later on, or maybe pass it to the next generation. And unfortunately with the Chick-fil-A system has some great parts of it, but that's not one of them. It's not a real investment. It's more of a managerial position at a company.
Right. Well, and I really like, when you guys have people who are looking, let's say today we've got people listening and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I just got to get out of here. Where do you typically send them on your site, or where would you send them? I know you've got under 5,000, under 10,000.
I think it's good to start by the industries. So at Vetted Biz, we have it dissected industry by industry. And we actually looked at the default rate across each industry by Small Business Administration loans through the 7A program. So for some of the industries that like food and beverage, there's 10,000 plus loans. So I think that's a good start to really see what the industry is like.
Sure.
And then from there, you can see if that's something you want to get into. And I just recently had a podcast and the guests mentioned passion, purpose, and profits. And, what's your priority here? And if you're really into the passion side, go for that fitness franchise.
Right.
But if you're more into purpose and growing a big team and making a big impact and also making money, maybe you got to balance those three out somehow.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's where people can easily get overwhelmed because trying to decide what really is more important. But today, with so many people leaving corporate America for whatever reason it happens to be, or for people trying to get back into jobs after they were kind of squeezed out over this, it's interesting to find what segments or verticals they're most interested in. Do you have some data on what you see people hitting on the website the most?
Service industries are really popular. And also we're just producing a lot of content there. And what appeals me, especially someone in their 40s, 50 that's leaving corporate America, you're usually taking a step down. So the franchise is not going to be making 150K in the first year. So get a franchise that you invest ideally as little capital as possible, and you pass break even fast.
Right.
So the service brands allow for that, where food and beverage, fitness, it's probably going to take 2 years from the time you find the location, build out the location, pass break even. And that investor was leaving 150K, nice job with benefits. There's a huge opportunity cost to that. So I think, looking at the service brands and industries that you get a fast payback, and it's also, it's psychological when you get money in the bank account and you're going to get more motivated rather than waiting more time. And yes, it might be more profitable and there might be a bigger exit. We're living day to day, and it can be demoralizing if you're not making money after, a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about, obviously you have so much data on all of these and you can't do it by yourself. So tell us, how do you all go about taking a brand and breaking it down and going through the disclosure documents, and kind of what's your process to make sure that you kind of leave no stone unturned?
Definitely. Yeah. So we have basically a data collection process where we're going to go through the most important parts of the FDD, including how long has it been around and how fast is it growing? Was it founded 3 years ago and now there's 300 locations? Well, we've seen a lot of crashes, haven't we?
Yeah.
With these brands that just grow way too fast. So that's definitely a factor. Royalty, marketing. But if a royalty is 10% for an education franchise, is that good or bad? Or 4% for food and beverage? You need to have some metrics. So the free version of EditBiz is you have the data, you have the information. But then if you want to have metrics and benchmarking, you pay $39 a month, and you can then benchmark franchises across that industry. So education, I think, is 8.3% royalty. So if it's a 6%, 7% royalty, that's not bad.
Right.
But you might think that's bad because a lot of food and beverage franchises that don't have as high margins are 4%, 5% royalty.
Exactly.
So Patrick, what about the COVID data? Do you have COVID data to look at who has done well over the last couple of years in terms of COVID resistant businesses?
Yeah, great question, Elizabeth. So I do look forward to going through the 2022 FDDs as they're released in, say the January to April timeframe. And usually we're getting that data up within 2 weeks of the release.
Awesome.
So with that, we'll have a lot more information, as well as one of our analysts in December, the next month, as well as January 2022 is going to go through every loan that's been issued to a franchisee through the 7A program over the last 20 years, basically go through the study. During COVID, Burger King, another brand. Many of the food concepts have closed locations, but there have been some that have opened locations. And then the home service businesses have done pretty well throughout COVID, and people are spending a lot more time at home, and they're realizing, their kitchen or their floor is kind of a mess and getting that redone. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny that you say that, because I just went through my house yesterday. I'm like, that's it. I'm finally getting this kitchen done.
I mean, I want more light. I wanted a nice storm door so we have more light coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Home Depot is taking 6 to 8 weeks on anything, so.
Or more. I have windows on order, right? I'm talking February, March, and I paid for them in October.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So it's a combination of supply chain, the labor market,
Yeah, yeah, everything's just coming together to create a big disaster. So that's awesome. I'm so excited about your business and all the work that you guys do. I mean, I can't tell you that $39 a month, even if it was $50 a month, for somebody who's serious about getting out and investing in a franchise, this is really money well spent. I mean, you're taking, if you haven't already looked at an FDD, the franchise disclosure document, oh my gosh, some of them are 300-400 pages.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, and it's a snooze fest trying to get through all of it. And oftentimes you don't know what are the key parts to look at. And so with the stuff that you guys do, the benchmarking and things, that's amazing, because not only do you just see for that franchise, you see across the industry. And I think some of that is just invaluable. You'll still, people still need to go out and you still need to validate with owners in your area, but having information that you guys have pulled at your disposal is really, really
we make
priceless.
the validation easier too, because we give the names and the contact information of every current franchisee. So
Yeah.
you can be there hitting up the calls, and maybe only 3 out of 20 you're actually able to get a conversation with, but all the information's there, email, phone number, and it makes it easier going through that franchisee validation. I remember a while back, I had one client spoke to 16 franchisees, which I thought was excessive, but at the end of the day, he's investing a lot of his capital, and he's investing 2+ years of his life.
Yeah. And hopefully his choice in looking at your list versus a list that perhaps a franchisor has provided, because some franchisors will.
I got an email today from some publication where they're showing the franchise stats, and then in small print, it's like the top 25% of franchisees meet these numbers. And it's like 300K in profit. Well, it's like, what about the top 50%? What about the bottom 50%? There's still a lot of kind of deception where you need to have all the information. And then what makes you think that you're going to buy this franchise and be in the top 25%?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
it can be there. Hopefully you are, but don't bet your house on it.
Well, it's about knowing who's providing you the information and who's paying for it. So, I mean, that's to me, the whole thing about what you're doing is that you are not committed to anybody. You're not being paid for by anybody. So your data is your data. That's it.
We made the decision not to receive any money from franchisors in terms of advertising or any of that, because we didn't want to piss off sponsors, and we just wanted to be able to write freely. And if it takes 15 years to get your money back in a franchise, be able to write that without any major repercussions.
That's right. Freedom of speech. I love it. And good, honest information. Again, as I told you when I first met you, I was so excited to have you on the show. I love the work that you guys do. Thank you to your team, because I know we talked about the whole group of them that sit there and pour through these boring documents every day. And we're really looking forward to having you on again. Can you tell people how they might find you if they want to chat with you or look into Vetted Biz?
Sure. Yeah. The easiest, I encourage everyone to just go on the portal. There's even a free trial. You can sign up 7 days. If you don't like it, just cancel it. There's no commitment. You have a 7-day trial, and you can get all the data, all the benchmarking, and easiest www.vettedbiz.com. And right now we have 1,800 franchises on the portal. By the end of the year, we should be up to 2,100. And I hope that we just continue to build upon that list, so that whoever, if you're a franchise buyer, even a private equity investor, that you have the whole inventory of,
that's amazing,
of options.
Yeah, I have to tell you, it's great. And knowing the good folks over at FBA, it's a really great relationship that you formed, because those brokers will now have more information and help people make better choices. So
yeah, and it's like, in the long run, it's good for business too. It's the right thing to do, yes. But if you sell a franchise to someone that recoups their capital in 2 years versus 6 years, they're probably going to come back to you when they're investing more. Okay, do I do the same brand? Do you have another brand? They're going to tell their friends. So yes, it's the right thing to do. And it's good for long-term business.
That's awesome. Patrick, thank you so much for your time today. Can't wait to speak with you again. I know we will in the very near future.
Definitely.
And a big, huge thanks to your brother, Jack, as well. We really do appreciate your candid feedback and all the information that you provide.
For sure. Really appreciate it, Elizabeth and Kristen.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Well, folks, I want to thank Paul Pickett and Patrick Pindaro being on our 2021 ending show. As usual, weird glitches happen. I apologize for that. The best audio or video is actually probably the Molly Maid Naperville Aurora YouTube channel, or the Fred McMurray Twitter, or the Pillars of Franchising Twitter. It's been a year of growth. We've gone places we never expected to. I'm very grateful and celebratory to have a partner in Kristen Shelmetzi. Ooh, got it once. I think I got that right. She'll have to listen and tell me. And Ray Pillar and Jerry Akers and Elizabeth Denham and our technical producer Heidi and David Katganich for being around, as well as a whole lot of not newcomers because they've been on the show, but folks that want to help us bring education, opportunity, and information about how to be successful in franchising. That's a path to small business ownership and a financial future that you can control. We see it all over the place with people leaving. Either older or younger folks are walking away from big corporations for better life, work balance. Want to spend time, have a family, spend the time with the grandkids, leave a legacy, build something that you can control and live the life way you want. So what started out as a good deed, which they never go unpunished, we brought ourselves a whole lot of work, and it's turned into something of a crusade. And I'm grateful to be on it with everyone. So next year we'll have some great announcements next week on